hit the record button now. I think it should be, yep, recording. So welcome, my name is Elizabeth Kish. This is our 2016 Team Huddle for Extension Family Economics Educators. The Huddle concept was one of Susan Shockey's terms that I really thought it was a good description. We have a lot of great speakers today. The way we're going to do this is I'll run the slides from my computer. The speakers can either say to me, next slide, next slide. We'll try to keep on schedule, and we'll see how it works. Everyone's on mute for right now. If you have a question, please type it in the chat box, and we'll open it up for verbal questions at the end. And in that case, turn on your mic and feel free to talk. So, Brent, I think you're unmuted. So do you want to go ahead and start?
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Brent Elrod. I'm one of the national program leaders here at USDA's National Institute of Food and Ag. My pleasure to bring you greetings also from Dr. Caroline Krokel, who's the Division Director at Family and Consumer Sciences, and also from our Director, Dr. Sunny Ramaswamy. So we're all pleased to be able to offer what we can today. I saw Sunny briefly and let him know that I'd be sharing today, and he asked me to pass along his good wishes. And Dr. Krokel's off-site at a training. This is the second day of 2, so she would have joined you otherwise. But you get me, and she and I had an opportunity to talk through a few of the slides that are going to be shared. And as we have questions at the end, we're happy to entertain those and provide what answers we can. So next slide, Elizabeth.
I am doing what I can. Something seems to be, so keep talking.
Should I try and advance them?
I don't think you can. Oh, there we go.
All right, good. So just wanted to bring you an update. Obviously, we had a presidential election a few weeks back, and a lot of folks have been anxious about what that's going to mean for federal government, the various agencies, certainly the USDA and NIFA. You probably know as much as I do, and we do, because as you've watched along with us the announcements for some of the cabinet level nominees for secretaries of those cabinets, we're still awaiting a name for Department of Ag. And so until that person is named and then confirmed by the Senate, the dominoes in terms of the deputy and the undersecretary positions would likely follow. So we're going to have to wait at least until the inauguration, January 20th, and we know at that time that we will be seeing many of our politicals will be their last day, such as Secretary Vilsack, Dr. Wotecki, who heads the Research Education Economics mission area, will be out. What we do know is we've got an interim career position announcement for Dr. Wotecki's position as the PD for RE, and that is Dr. Ann Bartuska. And some of you know Dr. Bartuska and have worked with her in the past, so she's a career, not a political, and so that means she's going to be acting in that role until such time as a political individual is appointed. So you probably, like I said, you probably know as much as we do. I'm not going to throw out any names because they could be wrong, and so we'll wait along with you for the formal announcement from the President-elect's team. What we do know is that there has been a transition team that has landed within USDA. Again, I don't know any names of the individual or individuals that are heading up that transition team on behalf of the President-elect, but they have set up shop over at USDA having some initial conversations. What we also know is that when Sunny's position was created as a part of the 28 Farm Bill, what would become Sunny's position, it was created for a 6-year term, so that it would straddle administrations. So our understanding is that Sunny's position will continue across the transition, and we've not received any guidance from our leadership otherwise on that. So if folks are hearing things across the system, they're rumors. Who knows if it's true of the rumors, but the guidance that we've received is his position will continue and straddle across the change administration. So the other news for last Friday is that Congress did pass a continuing resolution to extend the operating budget for fiscal year 17 on the fiscal year 16 terms through April 28th. So what that means is that our discretionary programs will continue at the funding levels that they were appropriated at in fiscal year 16. And so the formal fiscal year 17 budget will be determined once the new Congress is sworn in and they get around to approving the annual budget for all the departments. So in the meanwhile, if there are existing RFAs that you'll see announcements, they would likely come out with language that would say based upon available funding as it is appropriated or something similar. And so that gives us an out if all of a sudden Congress were to change our budget once they were sworn in, then to either lower the amounts or change them accordingly based upon the actual budget. So we also know that our Farm Bill runs through 2018, which means deliberation should begin in earnest once a new Congress is sworn in. I have entered information for a link in the chat box, a good article in Choices magazine that's available online by Stephanie Mercier about the making of a Farm Bill. If you've not had a chance to review that previously, and again, based on the limited time we have today, I'd encourage you to follow that link and review the article. It's not too detailed or lengthy, but it does give you a good primer about how the Farm Bill is come to pass. So please take a look at that. We also wanted to give you an update on federal partners that in the past Susan Schucke has helped to lead, and Caroline and I have been filling in. Caroline's been filling in with the FLEC FLEC Commission, and you'll see that there was a meeting that she attended recently in November, and the next one's scheduled for the public on February 14th. She's also indicated that there's a new Treasury staff member that she's having contact with named Nancy Montoya, and so that'll be the person going forward. I believe that person's a career, but I don't know that for sure. So if it were a political, that name would change as well, but I'm pretty sure that's a career person. Caroline wanted me to mention the Federal Reserve Conference that's upcoming called Strong Foundations. You see the dates there, scheduled March 23 and 24 here in DC. So if that's, you've got to send a representative from your group, probably should look at that registration and get yourself registered for that. Okay, we can move on. All right, Caroline wanted me to mention that we've done a lot of work to update and upgrade our website. So there's a new platform, new pages that reflect the entry point for, in this case, human sciences, more broadly, Division Family Consumer Sciences. And so Caroline's helped to create that. And internally within the Division of Community Science, Family and Consumer Sciences, we've created two teams, and you can advance it to the next slide. They're listed on this next slide. One is for family well-being, and one is for community vitality. And you see some of the traditional extension research-related efforts around financial capability, all the way through housing and environmental health, are represented under the family well-being team. And then that's led by Beverly Samuel. I lead the community vitality team, and you see that we've got areas of focus around workforce development, community resource and economic development, rural health and safety, and urban extension. So your focus areas obviously cross over each of those, and we recognize there's no easy or perfect way to create a separation of duties. So we work very closely together, and we'll continue to do so. As part of that effort to kind of align our efforts, plan strategically, and then also look at the priorities that are set by the new administration, we're going to convene a national summit here in DC area, August 30th to September 1st of this next year, where we'll bring representatives of those teams together along with other federal partners, folks from within NIFA, non-governmental organizations, that can kind of help us in terms of our own planning process as we look forward to the next 3 to 5 years. All right, we can advance. And I think this will probably the slide that will bring you all the most joy, the next two, and certainly is one that pleases me. Susan Shockey, as you know, retired late last year, and we promptly wrote a position description, and sometimes the government doesn't move as fast as all of us would like. However, happy to say that the replacement position, which is refocused around behavioral economics, is out on the street now, closing date coming up in a week. And so you see in the description there, the brief description, the expectation for the person who's going to fill that position. And then on the next slide, you'll see links to the formal announcement. Also, then depending if you're coming in with a disability or other competitive status, one particular link, and another if you're not. The closing date is coming up real quickly on December 19th, and it's our intent then, once the position closes, to be able to move through the vetting process as promptly as we can, so that we're able to get a person here in DC that has responsibility for that entire program area. Caroline, as I mentioned, has assumed some of Susan's meetings, and I took over the Farm Business Management Benchmarking Program, Extension Risk Management Education Program, and so as a result, once the position is on board, we'll take another look at responsibilities and how they're split across the division, and how they can best support you and the system in doing the work that you do. So I've listed both of our email addresses. Feel free to reach out to either or both of us if you've got specific questions that we may not get to today, or if there's something that I can't answer, then I'll be able to enlist Caroline for the guidance and her response. But again, one of the things that she wanted me to end with, and certainly it's true, we know from working closely with you how passionate you are, how talented you are, and how capable you are, how committed you are to the work to really advancing financial security for all. And in our roles here in Washington, whatever we can do to support that, we encourage you to let us know. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Brent, very much. Again, for those who have just joined us, we feel free to chat to Brent in the chat box, and we anticipate having time for questions at the end, but just in case, or if you have a burning question, go ahead. And he did mention, and I see that he put the link in about the Farm Bill. Just an aside, I went to high school with Stephanie. We were in homeroom together. So
how about that?
How about that? So I'm gonna mute you, and I think Barb, you're up next.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, so we move on to the next slide. I think I unmuted myself. I hope you didn't mute me back again. If not, let me know.
No, you're good.
Okay, so I'm just going to do an update right now about some national programs, and then I'll come back later on and talk a little bit about the COP and some of the work that we did this year. So moving right along to the next slide, the first program I'm going to talk about is Small Steps to Health and Wealth, and then I'll also talk about Investing for Your Future and the Money Talk program, which of course is the program for women. So taking them one by one on the next slide, just some things that are new this year with Small Steps to Health and Wealth. We continue to archive messages each month. So each month I write a wealth message. Karen Inslee, who is my counterpart here at Rutgers, writes the health message. And then this past year we had two referee journal articles that were written that use data from the personal health and finance quiz. And both of those articles are available in their entirety online. You don't need to pay any money or anything like that. You can pull both of those off if you're interested in seeing those. Okay, on the next slide, just some information about the workbook. In case you're not aware, the workbook is available at no charge online, and it can be downloaded by section. So if you're interested in the behavior change strategies, you can do each one of those individually. These are the introductory sections that you see here on the slide, and we convinced the publisher up at Cornell that it would be beneficial to have the book free of charge, because we could tell people that if they want the whole book, it's cheaper to buy the book than it is to buy an inkjet cartridge. So so far it seems to be working as a strategy. But again, if you're just interested in one section, you can pull it off. On the next slide, just a little bit of information about investing for your future. Just like Small Steps to Health and Wealth, we have an archive message every month for investing for your future, and they go back to, I believe, 2004. And each year we update the course to make sure that the index numbers for taxes and Social Security are up to date. And then on the fact that there's 11 course modules. Okay, on the next slide, Money Talk. This too can be downloaded free of charge. And again, same publisher at Cornell. We convinced them to put it online so that we can kind of use it to promote the book, but also make it available to a lot of people. We keep that updated as well. And if people are interested, they pretty much now just do print on demand. So rather than print a lot of books and have them go out of date, they keep a very small inventory at the Cornell. And then when you need to place an order, they will literally print them for you at that time. On the next slide, just a couple other new things that came out this year, savings challenges. So our July Investing for Your Future message actually contained links for all of the challenges, all 6 of them that are out there. These are just some screenshots of the 15-week challenge, and there's a basic and a hardcore version. That's what I'm doing with my students here at Rutgers. There's the 30-day $100 challenge, and then the $2,500 savings challenge, which actually is ending the end of this week for anybody who started that. You get 2 weeks off at the end of the year before you start over again in January. And then finally, my last slide, as we lead into America Saves and some speakers that will talk about that, is I just want to let you know I submitted a grant for 2017, and we've been told that our grants have been funded, but just not the dollar amounts, and that might not be known for another month. So what we'll be doing with this project is something new and different. We're going to be encouraging people to create 1-minute videos that promote savings and to post them to their social media, and then we'll have a drawing for prize winners, and also be tabulating all the outreach that we get from the views on the videos and the hashtag use. And that's pretty much it on my section, so I'll turn it back to Elizabeth.
Thanks, Barb. June, I think you're next. If you want to unmute, I'll get your slides up. There we go. Maybe.
Hi, I'm June Pierre with University of Tennessee Extension. I'm housed in Hamilton County, which is Chattanooga. And this photo captures one of our local America Saves Week activity that engages lots of people and encourages lots of people to save, and we kind of make it fun with our Pigs on Parade. Next, please. And I hope everybody on the call knows about America Saves, and you've probably successfully incorporated some of the campaign into your extension programs, as I have on almost all of the 20 years since it's been in existence. And as a reminder, it is affiliated with CFA and their 270 plus partners, which a lot of those are on board with our America Saves campaign, America Saves Week campaign. Next. And February 27th of this coming year will mark the 11th anniversary for America Saves Week. And it is an opportunity to use some of your really creative, innovative methods to encourage savings. And we encourage you to involve your own colleagues and students if you're on if you're on a campus setting, engage community and state affiliations, or to motivate local clients if you're in a county setting, and encourage them to set financial goals. Next. We have 2 helpful websites. If you've not been using them, I encourage you to look at americasaves.org, and then especially go to americasavesweek.org. And next. And this is the place where you can sign up to receive occasional updates on what we're promoting to help us gear up for the campaign, and that is americasavesweek.org. And please go in and sign up to participate and receive the materials. Next. There's a plethora of resources available. All the materials are co-brandable. All you have to do is cut and paste to use them, and think small or go big to incorporate some of these wonderful resources into your programming. Next. You can download the social media banners. There's government proclamation templates. And there are specific themes for each day this year that you can plan your media outreach around if you so desire to do that. And next, we do have an online reporting tool that we will use to capture impact afterwards, and this is really useful when you're planning your events. Information is also there with Barb's financial challenge. We have a relatively new activity, the SaveYourRefund.org contest, where anybody can enter to win cash if they use Form 8888 to save part of their tax refund, and there's resources there available as well. Our digital kit is almost ready to be released, but we do have a mini kit that is already there, so you can go ahead and start planning. And then Barb mentioned her video contest, which it is approved. America Saves does offer many grants, and I believe Extension, we're going to receive 26 or 28 out of the 46 applicants for the America Saves with many grants this year. So we really appreciate CFA's financial support of this as well. And next. And this is a year-round activity, but we really promote it during Saves Week. Individuals can really make behavioral change by taking the pledge to save money. America Saves has recently done personalized embeddable pledge links. So let me encourage you to contact them to put it on your own websites and your printed materials. If you're working with a financial institution, for instance, that wants to promote Saves Week, they can set up an embeddable link for that specific organization. Next, individuals can opt in to receive motivation to help them with their goal. They can get text messages, which this is really surprising me. Even locally, it's been very effective. People can opt in a number of messages they want to receive every time, and these are ongoing communications, goal-based email messages. Next, please. And the resources now, the messages are specifically geared toward the goal that they've set. And like I said, they can get monthly emails from America Saves, quarterly newsletters, and then the text. And there are online resources that everybody has access to as well. And next, these are some of the other resources that are out there, and they are accessible to anybody. And America Saves also has different challenges throughout the year to engage everybody. And next, I want to encourage everybody to keep it simple. Your activity doesn't have to be in February, because I know weather isn't conducive to that. But just make it fit your organization. And I think it's Michigan, they're doing a virtual financial fair by offering links to different resources in the pledge this year. And don't forget to promote this internally, as I mentioned before, in your own campus, your own organization, your own coworkers. And next, feel free to contact me, or we do have an America Saves, a local campaign coordinator that's willing to help us. And looking forward to seeing your America Saves Week efforts. Thank you.
Thanks, June. I will point out you do have a question in the chat box, so if you want to take a look at that, about where the reporting survey is located. I don't see Lauren. Has Lauren joined us? Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to flip through these. Kathy, are you ready?
Oh. I'm ready.
Okay, go for it.
Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with everybody. I'm Kathy Sweedler from the University of Illinois Extension, and I'm currently the liaison between the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, and USDA Cooperative Extension. So next, please. What I want to talk about is MoneySmart Week, which will be coming up the last week in April. This is a national event sponsored by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, but really run by local campaigns and partners. And we have 5 current national partners, of which USDA-NIFA is one of them. So this is a great opportunity, I think, for us to increase the visibility of Cooperative Extension's typical educational efforts and really reach new audiences, because the goal of MoneySmart Week is to raise awareness about financial education and to provide opportunities for people to attend free events. So next, please. So there's lots of information that you can learn about.
Kathy, did we lose you?
Oops, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, did anything get heard?
You said lots of information you can learn about, and
Okay,
that's when
great.
I lost you.
Thanks, I'm not sure what happened. Anyway, going to the MoneySmart Week website will give you a lot of information about the campaign, but I just wanted to show you that this is a large event that happens nationally if you haven't already heard about it. While it started in Chicago, it quickly spread throughout their region and now is in 49 states. So some areas do have planning teams, but you don't have to have a planning team in your area to participate. Anybody can partner and kick off MoneySmart Week in their area. Next. Probably one of the big pieces, definitely the big piece of MoneySmart Week, is the offering of free educational workshops, activities, seminars. You don't have to think PowerPoints. They can be all kinds of different things. I've just stuck up some different titles to kind of get those creative juices flowing. But really think about what is it that you like to do and what would you like to share to a new audience. It's a wonderful way to see people that you might not typically see at your presentations. In 2016, Cooperative Extension provided education in over 200 events around the nation, and I'd love to see that grow this next year. Next. It's easy to start getting involved in MoneySmart Week if you haven't done it before. We have a Cooperative Extension listserv, and if you email Sylvia Montgomery at NIFA, that she'll add you to the list, and I'll start sending out more information on that very soon. And then similarly, last year we did a webinar with different guest speakers talking about different perspectives on MoneySmart Week, and that is posted at the University of Illinois website that's listed here, so that you can, if you've not done it before and you want to hear more than 3 minutes about it, you can listen to that and get a better idea about how you might be involved and what it might bring to your own programming efforts and things, and how it can grow for you. Next. So when you start, if you're interested in being involved, joining the listserv is probably step 1. Step 2 would be to go onto the moneysmartweek.org website, which is, by the way, has a brand new look. For those of you who've been involved in the past, check it out. It's looking great. And register to be a MoneySmart Week partner. If you've been a partner before, you shouldn't have to re-register. You should be able to log in with your previous logins and things. So of course, offering educational programming in your community is one way to get involved. The Federal Reserve is also offering some other newer opportunities to get involved, including creating what they're calling a Money Minute video. So you can create a short video and talk about that you're from Extension and offer a little financial tip. And there's information on the screen about that. And then next, the other thing that they are looking for is to create ongoing continuing education throughout the year. And one way they would like to start that is with monthly webinars, about 20 minutes in length. Cooperative Extension has been contacted as sort of one of their first partners to offer these webinars. And so I'm creating a list of those for them. If you are interested in providing a 20-minute webinar, please send me just a short description, and we'll get you on that list and get it scheduled for this sometime in the next coming year. So lots of different ways that as Extension personnel that we can participate in MoneySmart Week. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'd be happy to talk to people individually so that we can get more people on board. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. And I think Kathy can hang around for a little bit. She stepped out of another meeting to be able to be with us at this time. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or contact Kathy directly by email. I think next, Barb, you're
Yes.
back up.
I'm back up. Just one slide, so we can just advance to the next slide. And this is just an update about the e-extension student loan fact sheet series. There are several of us on this webinar today who are members of NC 2172, which is a multi-state group of researchers in family economics. And for the last 2 years or so, we've been studying student loans with a variety of studies and papers that we've been putting out. In fact, we just had an article in the Journal of Financial Counseling and Planning. So part of our work with the multi-state team is to take the research findings and put them into a form that can be disseminated to the general public. So because we had done so much work looking at the literature on student loans and then of course conducting our own studies, we thought that a series of fact sheets would be good. So you can see on the slide there that we have 10 fact sheets in a series, and they cover everything from deciding where to go to school and whether you go to college or trade school, and then of course cover student loans. And then we even have some fact sheets that talk about the back end after you've left college and how do student loans affect the rest of your life and what to do if you can't pay your student loan payments. So we've kind of covered from beginning to end of the process. So I just want to make that these are available, and there are direct links for each of the fact sheets. There also is a student loan page, which you can access from the e-extension personal finance page. So if you are ever looking for materials on student loans, just make sure that you check these out and use them in your program. That's it.
Great, thanks. Lyle, I think you're next. Let's see.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, go
Great.
for it.
So next slide. So I'm Lyle Hansen, University of Idaho, family finance educator. So I'm on a project called Solid Finances with Jill Schumacher out of Montana State University and Carrie Johnson that's now out of North Dakota State University. This program originated from Montana State University with Jill Schumacher. Next slide. So you see all the partners, I believe. Yeah, so you see it's a FINRA Financial Investor Education Foundation grant. And so what this is a series of free webinars that people could log in at any time and watch during their lunch hour. They're set up in 50 minutes. I'll have you keep sliding forward. So that the website's there, you could go look at it. The nice thing about it is we have a couple years of webinars that have been recorded and are archived on that site. So if you go to the next, hopefully I'll show some of the site there. So you see upcoming webinars. So I believe today we have the healthcare savings accounts, and that's why Carrie wasn't on this. She's teaching that now as we speak. And I will be doing the one after the break on retirement. So we're able to use these with our clientele and with our commissioners. So in the county level, I get it to the county chairs and they use it as a selling point why they fund us. So we use it in that angle also, that we have these great webinars available for anyone that could go watch them. So you see the list of the past ones, people could go on and watch those and download them even to watch later. They're about 55 minutes long, so they're in that smaller increments. But we do have a couple in Spanish too that are on there. Have you keep going forward. Again, here's just a sample what we provide to the county and provide to our clientele of what's coming up. You see we have some specific ones to the states that are on this program also. So, and a lot of them do kind of key in on national. These webinars have interactive tools, so we do have service providers that use these. They will ask their clientele to provide these answers to them to see that they actually did watch them. I've trained the state of Idaho navigators. They give these to their clientele to make sure they're going and doing extra things as they're helping them get out of the financial stress they're in. But it's been good in that regards. Again, this is just one of the polls that we do see, so I'll have you keep clicking through. So credit scores, this is what one of the sessions would look like. I'll have you go through. So I did one on that, just kind of what we cover. And it's just like this. We use, we don't use Zoom, but we do use Adobe Connect on it. So I'll have you keep going. So just again, more a sample of what these do look like. So they do have to answer the questions and get the real-time data. So, and the polls come up there. We do a resource page at the end where they could go further, get information on the subjects that are covered. So these are nice and easy that can be handed out also. And so that's just questions on that part of the slide. And is that all of mine, or do we have more? We have more. No, that was it. So.
Great. You really did do it as a Ignite. I actually got up my stopwatch. I was going to do every 30 seconds, but okay. Well, thanks, Lyle. Again, for those of you who may have questions, if you want to put them in the chat box or hold them till the end, we're actually being very efficient with our time. So I'm becoming more optimistic that we will be able to take live questions. Suzanne and Maria, I think Suzanne is presenting. Is that correct?
Yes, Elizabeth, and you made that comment about the time just at the wrong time when I come in.
Oh,
so you can have your whistle ready as a referee, okay?
Okay.
So this is Suzanne Bartholomew, and I'm with Iowa State University. I'm the State Specialist in Family Finance, and I'm here with my colleague Maria Pepitas from the University of Delaware. Maria, I'm glad you're here. I thought you were going to be your holiday party.
Yeah, I'm here.
So we're excited to be able to give people an update about this initiative that we've been involved in. You can see from the title here, our title here, Moving Cooperative Extension's Financial Education and Evaluation Strategies Forward. That is the title of a presentation that we had in 2015 at the Extension Pre-Conference at the AFCPE Symposium. And the idea came about because there have been several published reviews about the inconsistent and inconclusive findings about whether or not financial education programs are improving consumers' knowledge or behavior. And so at the same time as we were looking at these different reviews, there was an external evaluation report that came out in 2014, and it was sponsored by the North Central region, the Family and Consumer Science program leaders. And so they identified a key opportunity for our system to strengthen our knowledge sharing process, to reduce some of the parallel efforts that we're making, and to combine our efforts in our evaluation work in order to be able to better document our program successes. And so it was sort of a perfect storm around this evaluation report, as well as these published reviews that kind of gave us a focus of our initiative and why we wanted to have the AFCPE conference, the roundtable. So with that in mind, we developed some questions for there were about 60 of us at this presentation, and we reviewed just, some strategies for improving evaluation overall for our system. We looked at the way it's being collected currently in terms of, well, at least Maria and I did this ahead of time, in terms of our national data collection efforts and our aggregation efforts. And at the roundtable, we talked about pooling resources and contributing to scholarly works on the impact of financial education. So as a result of the roundtable, Elizabeth and Barb invited us to basically present the idea to the webinar during a webinar for the Financial Security for All in February of 2016. And you can go to the next slide, Elizabeth. And so based on the feedback from the roundtable, AFCPE, as well as that FOS webinar, there was great support for continuing this idea of a national collective effort to aggregate our impact data. And so we stayed involved for the past year, getting together regularly to discuss how we would go about having a national effort. And so out of that, we agreed that we wanted to identify and create some consistent impact indicators. And for us, a logic model was the first step in that process. And so we were able to develop a logic model. We also wanted to identify common indicators. So what are the program outcomes that people are striving to achieve, and then we recognize that not everybody wants to achieve the same outcomes. And so we have been convening regularly, discussing, how NIFA currently, how we currently collect. How states currently collect their indicators, how they're currently reporting them. We've looked at previous efforts in terms of a collective outcomes, and so we've really been reviewing and trying to dig deep into the efforts that are going on. You can go to the next slide. And so as a result, we have been really trying to document all of this work. And so over this, we convened all of last year, once a month for the last year through May, and then we took a hiatus over the summer and have been developing a white paper around the project and really documenting some of the FRM evaluation efforts. So demonstrating why it's important to have program impact, evidence around program impact for our FRM programs, what the previous evaluations have been, like the Battelle report. How do we currently report program impact, and then what has been done previously, because we've really been uncovering all sorts of great efforts from the past that really haven't been, I guess, capitalized on. So for example, the financial security in later life, the community of practice, they had a similar project in the 90s and they developed a set of indicators that have been used for, personal finance programs and consumer education. So we have this white paper, 90% finished. We do need to talk a little bit more about a theory of change, but we plan to share that with our colleagues in early January. In terms of developing a pilot and a data collection process, there's never been a specific funding line within USDA-NIFA for reporting. Historically, evaluation has come out of partnerships and partnership fundings. And so we have to explore, what this data collection would look like, but we would like to try and take some baby steps towards that. And another thing that we identified during this process was the idea that it would be a good idea to build capacity among our unit and our system in terms of evaluation capacity. And so those are probably also going to be next steps in our effort. And you can go to the next slide. And this is just a handful of some of the people, that have been, we really have a core group of people that have been meeting every month, but we welcome new members. And when we send out the white paper, hopefully we'll have some new members come on board. But we want to acknowledge and thank everybody that this work couldn't happen without all of their contributions. And it's been a really neat process. Maria, you want anything?
I think the only thing I would add is that the Financial Security for All group has offered $1,500 to help towards this project, and that will be on our next steps tasks to sort of figure out what's going to be the best strategy to use that in a way that really helps the whole system.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, and we do want to make sure we get the money spent. So thanks for mentioning that, Maria. Thanks, Suzanne and Maria. And Susan Sharkey, are you ready? I know you're here. I'm going to unmute you.
Good afternoon, I'm here, yeah.
Yay, okay.
Yeah. Suzanne and Maria, that's interesting information. I'm anxious to see the results. So hi, I know most of you. I am the director here at the National Endowment for Financial Education, working with the TEAM program. And if you want to advance, I just have a few highlights here from the NIFI office. Many of you are familiar with, and keep going, one more. There you go, thank you. Quick update on our high school program, which is only 1/9 of what we do. I want to share a few other items that definitely relate to our previous overviews here. Just to give you a few numbers, I just want to let you know, through you and through our other educators, we reach over 500,000 students a year. And since we started this in 1984, it's well over 11 million students. So kudos to you for the work you've done. Some of you have been here from the get-go. Currently, we have just under 20,000 subscribers to our monthly newsletter, and that's how we get information out. I share that with you because I made note of some of the items you had here, like MoneySmart Week, etc. That's the type of news that we like to get out to our instructors around the country. Feel free to share more with me. Just quick new, we have a new introductory video on the main web page if you haven't seen it. We also announced through our monthly newsletter through our network that we have Spanish versions of the letters that go home for each of the modules. Those are available to download and customize. Coming up, we're working on a help desk to help respond and ease the user experience on the website. We are in the process of formally evaluating our program. We have 2 control schools undergoing the interview process this semester, and we'll have 6 new schools the second semester. So by fall, I should have some results for you. And we'll be also sending out surveys, customer satisfaction surveys. We also will be starting a new process to onboard new state reps and trainers. If you have names to share with us, feel free to pass those on to me or Kimberly. Our needs here is just keep reading your news briefs. That's where we throw out some new information that might help the work that you're doing. We'll share any training or conference information that you share with us, and welcome your feedback at any time. So keep going, Barb. Thank you. A new resource we have that some of you may or may not have seen. This year we updated our 40 money management tips for college students. Still available to download as a PDF, but we also have a Spanish version. Next slide. And Cash Course has a completely new look. It is now online, open source type of independent study courses. No, the Cash Course actually is undergoing a new look, a new branding, but one of the new tools that they put up here is their budget wizard. This just came up in the last month. It guides the learner through the process of developing their budget, and they're able to save it, go back and update and apply their reality to what they had planned. So check that out. We have 2 screenshots here. MoneySmart is a site that has undergone a completely new upgrade. If you do one more click, Elizabeth, we now have 5 courses that are how-tos, the spending, the credit insurance, investing, employment, basically how-tos, some guidelines, walks them through understanding common definitions of the fundamentals, or a person can choose to go through our decision courses. The 3 that are up there now have to do with setting up an emergency fund, deciding on housing, and also deciding on transportation. We're building out 3 new, one on wealth building or financial security, another one is planning for retirement, and the third one is working and navigating through transitions as you increase or decrease household expenses. So check those out. They're open source. We've had really good feedback on them, and we appreciate the work of Barb O'Neill, who helped with some of the edits and revisions. Next. Financial workshop kits will have a new look in the next 6 months or so, but we are continually updating old workshop kits, adding new. If you do one more click here, we have, just a reminder, these are for your workshops with adults. We have the top 3 examples of basic money management for situations, but we're also building out some very micro workshops for specific things, such as credit reporting, rising food costs. All these have a script, presentation, and handouts that you can use. It is unbranded. It's something for you to integrate into your current resources. Go ahead. Another new item that just a few of you have seen, we just released this year 8 new workshop kits that deal with retirement decisions. Again, Barb helped us with this, but we also had input from several financial planners to work through this. Basically going through the 8 interconnected decisions that everyone needs to make as they're planning for retirement. And then 2 of the workshops have to do with income reducers, such as protecting from fraud and eliminating or reducing debt. I encourage you to take a look at that. We have very nice facilitator guides PowerPoint presentation, but each kit includes a specific action plan that we get the participants started on, and hopefully they go home and finish, because they may need to gather more information to finish their action plan. Next. The toolkit is undergoing revisions, and we've had several people weigh in on that from the extension group. So there's a new how-to guide on the website, and it's updated 2016. We also have a white paper. Actually, Suzanne and Maria, I'm going to send you some of these if it's something that's helpful for your project. But there's a new white paper talking about evaluation, the value, things to consider, primarily for that person who doesn't have a background in evaluation. But feel free to pass that on to your constituents. Go ahead. And the toolkit, the whole site is going to undergo some revisions later next year. So I hope to have another update for you in a year. And lastly, just some of our new research pieces that have come out. These two are featured here. One has to do with the disconnect between millennials and their money. They're feeling overconfident but underprepared. We have an easy to read piece that you can download and share with your colleagues, and also the full research. And then the other one, recent documentation, has to do with the early warning signs of diminished capacity and things to look out for as people slow down in their decision-making process. I think that's it, Elizabeth. There you go. If you need to connect with us here, most of you know how to reach us.
Yeah, we know how to find you, Susan. Thank you very much. And let's see. Okay, Barb, you're up again.
Okay, so I just have one slide, so we can click off to that slide there, and we're going to transition now and just talk a little bit about the work of the Financial Security for All Community of Practice. So I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of what we've done this past year, and then you'll be hearing from Elizabeth as to some of the plans for next year. First of all, I'm really pleased to announce that we've got a really good leadership pipeline, and that's really important. So yesterday, we kind of even confirmed our leadership up until 2019. So Elizabeth will be taking over as chair of the COP in 2017. Erica Toby is going to provide leadership in 2018, and Lorna Sabo-Woundedhead just agreed and volunteered yesterday on a back channel during our Twitter chat to provide leadership in 2019. So I think our COP is in really good hands for the next 3 years. So these are some of the things that we did this year. I can't stress enough how thankful and grateful I am to everyone who took the time early this year to contact NIFA USDA. And some of you wrote letters, some of you sent emails to Carolyn Krokl and to Sunny Ramaswamy, and it was very evident that we were heard as far as filling the national program leader position. So again, thank you. And obviously hearing from Brent before, the fact that we're moving forward on that is a real positive. So it just goes to show how we can come together. We did that very, very quickly. I think we had a window of about 3 weeks to do that. We reached out to professional associations, AFCPE, AAFCS, NEAFCS, FIRMA. I mean, it was just a really great effort. So if we ever have to do that again, we know that we can do that, and that there is strength in numbers, which is really important. Since we didn't have a national program leader this year, the COP in many ways became a de facto link to some of our national partners. Now, obviously, we weren't attending meetings in DC because Brent told you that that was being covered by NIFA staff. But when partners reached out to us, as Federal Student Aid did, and more recently, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, we were able to hold conversations with these people people, and in some cases partner with them on projects and share their information. Another thing that I began to do this year is to distribute the link to the monthly minutes to everyone. So in the past, the minutes have been pretty much just been within the leadership team. I thought it was important to make sure that everyone in our COP knows what's happening on our leadership team meetings, because a lot of times there's links to e-extension news or upcoming webinars or decisions that are made. So just making that available to everyone, I think, enhanced our communication channels. We also had a very robust webinar delivery schedule, and all the thanks there goes to Elizabeth for overseeing leadership of that this past year and providing us a wide variety of webinars on topics, everything from the evaluation that you heard Suzanne talk about, and we had the foreclosure curriculum, and of course this team huddle. So we've done a lot of webinars throughout the year. And also thank you to Elizabeth. We were in line for the e-extension community issue core. And in case you're not familiar with what that is, e-extension now is kind of putting their priorities and their funding into issue cores, which are groups of people who come around and issue and develop a project. And so initially they had kind of chosen other topic areas, and then this year they put out a call for existing communities to apply for some funding and to create a team project. And Elizabeth and several of our colleagues who are working in the area of health insurance put together a project and were recently at a training conference to get information to move their project forward. So again, thank you for representing our community so that we had a project in place to present, because there was a very short timeline for that as well. We also had 3 very successful Twitter chat, and now they call it YouTube Live. It was called Google Hangouts at one point. We had 3 events this year. We had one in February for America Saves Week. We had one in April for MoneySmart Week. And then we had one yesterday that was our year-end financial planning wrap-up. And I sent out the links this morning to everyone. There were 2 links, one to the Storify, so you could see the actual tweets that took place in the Twitter chat. And then the other link was for the YouTube Live, so you could see the video. And we had several people yesterday who did the video for their first time. And so shout outs to Lauren Jones and to Bryce Jorgensen, who were participants for the first time. We also received a national award this year from NEAFCS for social media, and that was for the team of us that had presented Twitter chats and YouTube videos in 2015. We also had 2 of our COP leaders recognized at AFCPE this year, myself as Distinguished Fellow, and Andrew Zumwalt, who received the Mary Ellen Edmondson Financial Educator of the Year Award. And then the final bullet point, and then I'll just talk very briefly about a few things that we still kind of need help with to kind of maybe put a bug in somebody's ear. Our last item, the bullet item, is that we did increase our leadership team participation this year. And that's important because we need to build our continuity in our leadership and grow our COP. And we made some really good strides to do that. Just a few other things. Carolyn Bird asked me to announce, for those of you who were at the AFCPE pre-conference in 2015, the issue of the the Forum for Family and Consumer Issues, that online journal, is actually coming out shortly, and that will have articles that people who made presentations at that pre-conference a year ago wrote up for the journal. I know I had a couple articles, and I just got final galley proofs today. And then finally, just to kind of lead into future, there are a couple of roles that would be really good to have people fill in the years ahead, because sometimes it really helps on the leadership team to not only just attend the meetings, but to have carve out a little niche that's your own, that you can provide leadership for, and you could report it to your administrators and put it on your CV and everything else that you can get credit for. We will need in the future somebody to oversee the Twitter chat / YouTube live events and move those forward in future years. So that's a possible role for somebody. Another one is we'd like to reissue our research briefs. We had somebody who was in charge of those several years ago who retired, and this would be an opportunity to write short summaries about research in the journals in our field. It would always be great to have a blog, and also anybody who has a passion for Pinterest might be somebody that would want to get involved as well. And Elizabeth will be providing our leadership going forward, so you can get in touch with her, and I believe she's on next.
Great, thanks, Barb. We did a lot this year. No wonder we felt busy, right? We were busy. I'm up to talk about the webinars, and as we have had over the years, and I want to remind everyone, we are one of the pioneer communities of practice. So we were in from the beginning, and from the beginning, we've had a webinar series, sometimes more frequently, sometimes less frequently. When the webinars were still being hosted by Iowa State, we could actually see very easily the number of views. And a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half, I put together a top 5 most viewed webinars list, and the Saving Money Research Insights continues to be our #1 webinar view-wise, and that was associated, you can tell by the timing, with America Saves Week. And then the others are pretty stable. I would say there was actually the Know the Flow, My Money and Me, part 1 of 4 is new to the list, as is the Family Financial Recovery from a Natural Disaster. And those are still available, and Eric will be talking about where our recorded webinars are going in the future. But I just wanted to show that that we do get views. We recognize that not everyone can be live, and so we record it, be with us live on the day that they're actually offered. So we do record them, and we're happy to see that people continue to find them and watch them. So what we did in 2016, my goal was to have a webinar pretty much every month except for July, and then November with AFCPE also got busy, and I didn't actually put this one on there. I should have. So these are the topics that we had this year, and as Barb mentioned, they were pretty varied. And you can always go to learn.extension.org, and if you search for FSA, that's the tag that I've been using for these, the list of our webinars will come up. And so this is what we've done in the past, and in 2016. I want to thank everyone who presented in 2016, and now I believe Laura is up to talk about what's happening in 2017. Barb mentioned leadership in the pipeline, and I was very pleased when Laura agreed when I asked her if she'd be willing to assume responsibility for the webinars in 2017. And she said yes, the thing we want to hear. So go ahead, Laura.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. So I think I have one slide with the proposed dates. Do we have that? For 2017. So typically these have been on the 4th Wednesday at 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern Time. And these are the dates that would fall on for all the upcoming months in 2017. And we've talked a little bit about some different topics and some format for these. At the last community of practice get together we decided that these dates were still good, but if there's any discussion on that and if the team wants some change, we can do that. Some of the months, as Elizabeth said, there were some months when we didn't have them, so that might occur again. Probably I'm thinking that Thanksgiving week 1 might not be a good date for everyone to participate. But right now, I'm entertaining suggestions for topics upcoming in the year. And some I think probably will fill in as hot topics occur and as important things pop up. But certainly if there are things that members of the community would like to propose for topics for the coming year, I'd be happy to have those suggestions. One other thing I maybe wanted to mention was Mark Locklear, who kind of coordinates hosts the Zoom session with E-Extension, asked me about maybe expanding our audience. He used as an example the forestry group, who is not only extension but also includes some industry people. And so my question had been to Elizabeth whether we wanted to keep these just for our community of practice, or if we wanted to invite other participants as well. And I'm thinking, from what I've gathered just from talking to some of the other community of practice members, is that this group is really interested in just keeping these more just for our extension folks and not really using them as outreach beyond that. But if anyone has other thoughts or feelings on that, I'd be happy to look at that as well. And that's it. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Great. Thanks, Laura. And in terms of topics, Laura said she's accepting suggestions for topics, and your programming that you're doing that's successful, or if there are issues that we might talk about. So feel free to type them in the chat box or to get in touch with Laura directly. That would be great. And I think so Erica Toby and I were going to do this part together. Erica has been experiencing weather in Michigan, so she will not be able to join us today. And so I will go ahead and talk about some of our future plans. Laura alluded to, in a way, what our vision is and sort of what's happening, why we exist, and some of that relates to how we focus the webinars. But this hasn't been our vision. We were, a couple years ago, some of you may remember, we joined a learning network or something of the Families Learning Network, a super community as it was sort of called then. And so we all sort of, the members of that came together and we very much honed our vision and our mission. I think given that e-extension is sort of moving toward, as you see, being a resource for extension professionals, that we may want to revisit our vision and mission again, but this is what it has been for the last few years. Let me see. So financial security for all, just as a reminder, who can join? Anyone can join. You just have to have an extension ID and agree to the terms of that membership with e-extension. Right now we have 223 members and we have 18 members who serve on the leadership team. Obviously, we feel, those of us who are active, have found lots of benefits in being a part of the community, and those connections that provide access to our network of colleagues, the contacts and the mentoring have been huge, I think, for many of us, and much appreciated. And then also the participation. And so if you're interested in joining or learning more about the community leadership team, we do meet on the second Wednesday of the month at 2 o'clock Eastern. And we will continue to send out notices of the monthly meetings to the community membership as well as the leadership team. So look for those emails. Plans for 2017, Barb mentioned the Community Issue Corps and just a little bit more about that. So several members of our community have been involved with the ECOP, or Extension and Experiment Station Committees on Policy, Health Insurance, or Health Literacy Activities on a Health Insurance Literacy Action Team, which is a big description, but we proposed a project related to health insurance literacy, and we were selected. And actually, I would say we were one of the few projects that were selected that had individuals as a focus. Most of them were focused on animals. So I'm glad that we did go ahead and do that proposal and that we were selected. You'll be hearing more about that as we go along. Obviously, we're all very anxious for the selection of a new national program leader, and when that person is hired, we are ready to provide whatever support we can from our community, and I know the individuals within our network probably feel the same way. We will continue with existing webinars under Laura's leadership, national initiatives, Twitter chats, and what did Barb say? YouTube Live events, and much more. So our next meeting is January 11th at 2 p.m. and we welcome new ideas, projects, and initiatives. And I think so that's our future plans, and along with those future plans, we have Eric Anderson to talk about what's going to happen with our webinar recordings.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Hi, I'm Eric Anderson, and I am a professor of agricultural and extension education at the University of Idaho. I have been working, assisting the FSA COP sort of behind the scenes on technical things, actually since 2005, since the start of the community of practice. And so I'm going to talk just briefly about some efforts currently underway to archive our webinars. So if you could advance the slide, Elizabeth. So as Elizabeth mentioned, the COP has been producing webinars for a number of years and actually started in 2010. And there are somewhere about approximately 40 of the webinars that were produced over the last 6 years. And some of them were done in collaboration with other communities like the Military Families Learning Network, the Healthy Communities COP, and the EDEN, the Extension Disaster Education Network. These webinars were produced in the Adobe Connect system, and this year eXtension decided to change the platform for webinars from Adobe Connect to Zoom, the system we're using for this meeting. And so that caused a need for us to look at a way to migrate the recorded webinars into a format that will be available when the Adobe Connect goes away, which will be sometime in the future. So a group of us got together and looked at the titles from the past, and we developed a plan to archive 22 of the webinar recordings. And the process is, it's sort of a real-time conversion, so it'll take a little bit of time to get these completed, but it's just a matter of converting them from Adobe Connect format to video MPEG-4 format, and then uploading them to YouTube. And all the forthcoming webinars in Zoom will be added to the YouTube channel as well. And there are a number of benefits for us in posting to the YouTube channel. Just makes it more readily available to the general public. And I've seen, actually, YouTube is the third largest search engine online. So when people are looking for information about personal finance, this will be a good way for them to access our materials. So I'm also asking all the members participating today to please subscribe to our channel, and I'll post the link in the chat window here. We currently have a small number of subscribers, and we need 100 in order to be able to change the URL into a custom name or custom label. So please do get online and subscribe. You need a Google account to be able to subscribe to a YouTube channel, but it's just a matter of clicking the button. So please join us there, and that's all I have.
Great, thanks, Eric. I didn't realize we need 100, so everybody subscribe, and we won't quite make it with participation today, but by the people watching later. And maybe we can send an email out to our community as well. So actually, I think I can now take a breath because we made it through all of our presenters who are here, and so we can open this up to any questions that anyone might have for any of the presenters that you weren't able to get answered through Zoom. Any final comments? I think all of you, hopefully you've had a chance to sort of explore through the Zoom platform and window while we've been on, so feel free to unmute yourselves, and we can, oh, thanks, Brent. I'm glad you subscribed. We can answer questions, comments, announcements from anyone.
Elizabeth, this is Barb. Since Lauren wasn't able to join us, I just thought I would let everybody know that Lauren is going to be picking up the social media piece for America Saves Week that I've led for the last 6 years. So her grant is in, and again, the amounts haven't been determined, but we've all been kind of told that we would be funded at some level. So Lauren is planning to continue the social media, maybe add some more messages to the queue that we already have. And she's planning a webinar on behavioral economics, which I think is perfect because it just ties right in with the focus of our new national program leader. So I don't know that she set a date with Laura yet, but that is obviously in the works for sometime in February. And she's also planning a Twitter chat. And she's also planning something called Be a Savings Ally, which I think is going to be geared more toward professionals. So just look for information from Lauren when it comes out, when she does get her funding and starts making announcements. And hopefully, as many of you as supported me in the past with the cut and paste on the tweets, you'll want to continue doing that with Lauren going forward. That's it.
Great, thanks, Barb. And I did, sorry, hopefully nobody got too dizzy. I did go to her slide that summarizes what she's planning to do. So, and it has her email address as well. Any other announcements or comments for us? Open positions beyond the national program leader position. Anybody from Idaho want to mention that?
This is Eric. I have seen the announcement, but I'm not in that department. But I know the announcement has been posted, and for a personal finance specialist position, and I think it went to the listserv, if I'm not correct.
Correct. I got it from the listserv. Yes. So, and I know if anyone's interested, has an interest in being in working with journals, the Journal of Human Sciences and Extension is searching for a managing editor. So you could go to that website and get more information about that. Other comments or any questions? Cynthia Crawford is writing in the chat box that they have 8 great positions open in Missouri for family financial education field faculty, and that they hire at the master's level and above. So that's good to know about. Thank you, Cynthia. Well, if we have no other announcements, I appreciate everyone being here today. This is kind of a new venue for our end of year group update. I hope it was helpful for all of you. I know I learned a lot of things, and I'm thinking about things to add to my calendar for 2017. So thank you for that. And everybody have happy holidays and a happy new year. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Great job.
Thanks, Suzanne. Bye, everybody.